Well, let's now take another look at our story on the pandemonium that broke out today at the PDP office here in Lagos. Arrests were made and gunshots were fired in the air to calm unruly party members.
Unusual sight at the Lagos PDP office. The party's national office had earlier cancelled the Congress held 2 weeks ago and called for a fresh one to determine the delegates that will be part of the party's primaries. It's way past 3 p.m. and most of the ward officials are still here as they sort out election materials. But the patience of some of the party members is put to the test, and then physicals ensues and some wrestling. Security operatives present could do only one thing: shoot in the air and let tear gas out to disperse the agitated and now very rancorous crowd. And then everyone takes to their heels as the effect of the tear gas can no longer be tolerated. I'm also caught in the quagmire and left to struggle with tears.
I want to say it's completely condemnable, but this is something that we are convinced was sponsored by our detractors. Now, in this particular context, the detractors are within and outside the party.
After about an hour, calm returns to the secretariat and the process continues, this time peacefully. The officials are aware that this is a rerun of the Congress, and with the primaries just a few days away, there's no room for mistakes this time.
I found it necessary to cancel the earlier exercise and reconstitute the panel as part of its corrective mechanism to ensure that the ad hoc delegates election and any other Congress will follow is done as per the guideline, and the results must reflect the true wishes of the generality of our members at the grassroots level.
Lagos is very strategic in Nigeria's political game. The PDP may be in the opposition in the state, but resolving their differences and putting their house in order will help put them in a strong position ahead of the 2015 elections. Sheung Okimbale reporting for Channels Television News.
Let's stay with politics, and female aspirants in the 2015 elections may have no cause to worry about their participation and quest for various political positions. Now, this is because the Independent National Electoral Commission has warned political parties against the intimidation of women ahead of the party's primaries. The Commission says it's undertaken critical reforms to accommodate all candidates, irrespective of gender. Our correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
During every election, there is a remarkable trend. More and more women are seen coming out of their homes to take part in political rallies. However, the swing ends there because when it comes to representation, women candidates account for a small percentage in the elections. This increasing challenge has brought about special attention at different fora. Here, INEC has warned against intimidation.
The Commission has also created a unit to monitor party finances with a view to checking the influence of money in party politics.
More women agree that this is one glaring problem in the country that gets less attention.
It's not just enough to give women the forms free of charge, but it's important to at least assign certain percentages to the women to say you can contest for this particular seats, or you can contest at this number of seats, and other men who are aspiring should be told to step down for the women.
According to recent statistics by the World Economic Forum's annual gender gap report, Nigeria declined considerably, ranking 102 of 142 countries in women's political participation.
The policymakers would have to go back to the drawing board to look at issues that lead to this very low performance. In other countries, we're talking about 50-50. Others are getting 40-60. Nigeria is first almost in everything, in terms of economy, in terms of population, so we can't be last in terms of female participation.
Contesting for elected position is capital intensive, and women do not have the resources. But if the political parties go some step further to create goodwill for women, not scheming them out. We'll have so many women that will contest and that will also win the elections.
Well, expectations are high that getting more women in politics to emulate countries like Rwanda might not be a huge call if the government remains steadfast in its promise to maintain a 35% affirmative action on women come 2015. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The Speaker of the Taraba State House of Assembly, Mr. Josiah Kente, has resigned his position. Mr. Kente told journalists in Jalingo, the state capital, that he has forwarded his resignation letter to the clerk of the Assembly. The Speaker said he took the decision in the interest of peace in the state. Mr. Kente was elected Speaker in November 2013, following the death of his predecessor, Mr. Haruna Sokwa. His resignation comes days after the Supreme Court nullified the impeachment of Taraba State Deputy Governor Alhaji Sani Abubakar Danladi and ordered his immediate reinstatement. Now, $1.65 billion has been spent on electricity transmission projects across the country, and that's according to the Minister of Power, Professor Chinedu Nibo, who explained that the funds were sourced from bilateral partners such as the African Development and World Banks. While giving updates on the activities in the power sector, Professor Nibo said the government is working on diversifying the energy mix so that all sectors can be reached, including communities cut off from the national grid.
And as usual,
Key players in the power sector at the ministerial briefing for updates on the operations, achievements and challenges in the sector. The Minister of Power, who led the team, gave an overview of over 40 ongoing electricity generation and transmission projects across the country at different stages of completion, for which about $1.6 billion sourced through bilateral partners is being expended.
Century Power for 495 megawatts gas-fired at Okija, Anambra, working on it. The ExxonMobil for a 100 megawatt wind power plant at Marapan, Bushit, Plateau State. And African Development Bank, as I said earlier, is providing credit support for NDEC in the form of partial risk guarantee. And the Federal Ministry of Power, in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Mines and State Development, is currently developing bountiful projects, project documents for the purpose of facilitating investment in coal to power.
Nigeria currently generates 4,600 megawatts of electricity, and of 170 million citizens, only about 68 million, representing 40%, have access to electricity. The target of 20,000 megawatts, reaching 75% by 2020, is achievable only through a mixed grid that includes solar power, coal, gas and biomass.
Coming up with solar power, where it's possible we use wind power. The problem with wind is not all parts of Nigeria are amenable to wind power supply because we don't have enough wind velocity. And wherever we can use biomass, we will use biomass. And when we need an integration of solar and biomass, we do the integration. So government is insistent on diversifying the energy mix and giving Nigeria a well-balanced energy mix.
Presently, the demand for energy in Nigeria far outweighs supply, despite the several projects and consistent investments. The minister says while electricity improves, it will not be simultaneous across the country, but will come in phases. A journey, he said, will take about a decade to achieve. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
On to aviation now. The Nigeria Customs Service says the 2 cargo terminals at the Murtala International Airport Command will remain shut until the operators put in place checks that will allow men of the service properly facilitate trade. At a media briefing at the MMA Command, the Customs Area Controller, Mr. Tajuddin Olarewaju, insists last week's clash between the operators and officers of the service is a call to sanitize the area. Now, as more businesses and economies embrace online transactions, it's the duty of Chief Information and Security Officers to keep such organizations safe from intruders. This was the basis of the Cisco Roundtable organized by Deloitte Nigeria in Lagos, where cyber vigilance was discussed. Speakers at the workshop also examined other means of tracing cyber crimes.
The rapt attention on display here can only be commanded by matters of security. These participants are largely Chief Information Security Officers from various organizations discussing ways of tackling emerging security issues with cyber intelligence, put together by Deloitte Nigeria.
Today, cybersecurity risks are inherently complex. These threats are real and can have severe implications if not properly managed.
The keynote address is done. Presenters and discussants take turn to x-ray various topics, including developing an effective approach to cyber intelligence, cyber vigilance, implementing a comprehensive predictive analytics system, and more.
If you notice a vulnerability in a system, you have to take steps to check that same vulnerability in all the related systems.
And the presenters are appreciated. The essence of the roundtable is explained further.
Nations can, go down within days. The shareholders' value can be eroded. Shareholder value of companies can be eroded within seconds or by the click of a button in cyberspace. So what we're trying to do is to educate, people, educate ourselves on how we can put appropriate measures in place to protect us from the dangers in the cyber world.
Everybody has moved on to the electronic platforms. And there's no other way to protect your customers from hackers than to just monitor 24/7, 365 days in a year.
Individually, it's either we've been hacked or one day we'll be hacked. And of course, there are people that have already been hacked that will be hacked again. So globally, and not just in Nigeria, people should pay attention to attendant consequences of this digital world.
In a world where nations, businesses, and individuals freely explore the cyber world, vigilance therefore remains a key to uphold. Chris Elems, Channels Television News.
When the news at 10 returns, Governor Fashola presents Lagos Budget 2015 to the State House of Assembly. To join us again.